she dies and wakes up, and she's
Realises
crashing.
her heart will go on.
Yes, Celine, her heart will go on. Hello and welcome to Press the Action Button podcast, where two nerds talk about video games. My name is Yusuf.
And my name is Numan. Thank you for finally giving me the intro I wanted. Thank you.
You're so insistent on just saying the words, my name is.
Look, I don't know about film and TV, but I'm sure you don't lead up a person to say one word, do you? You have to give them a sentence.
It's an intro. You can say more.
An entrance.
That's not how you are. Entrance again, yeah. You're a wrestling entrance. You walked in here like Vince McMahon earlier.
Well, speaking of that, Biden's entrance was a bit like wrestling into the country. He hit everyone from top to bottom of the country cheering for him.
I didn't see...
Did not see him come
no,
to Ireland.
I saw bits of stuff with him.
Even I was like, oh God, you're embarrassing us.
God, he is very old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's pretty old, but
yeah.
But look, age is no problem. I'm old too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still like him.
Yeah,
I think he's a nice guy. But anyway, sure. Hello. How are you?
Scrub the last 25 seconds.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, very good. Yeah, glad to be here. Yusuf slagged me and I came in for wearing nerdish attire because I'm coming straight from work. This is my lunch break. So I may be speeding through the podcast, but I'm doing well.
I wanted to go through the entire history of Mario.
Did you? Oh,
no,
okay.
I didn't.
Well, that's safe for me another day.
Yeah.
No, actually, no, just 64. But no, I'm doing well. I've had some retro mishaps, some retro enjoyments. It's been a mixed bag, to be honest.
Oh yeah, what happened?
Well, do you want to start with the good news or the bad news?
You're naturally miserable, so...
Bad news is that... Do you remember that game, Incredible Crisis?
No.
You do.
Alright then.
It's about that Japanese man who goes to work and bad things keep happening to him.
You've told me about this many times and I have no recollection of it.
Okay, well...
It's like the big boulder chasing down the hill.
Boulder chasing down the hill. He has to do dance moves with his work colleagues. Just insane stuff. So I really want to get that. And I bought it and I spent like 18 sterling on it. Anyway, you all know my pains about the retro gaming market now, but came this morning in an envelope. Just a plain envelope. I got 2 games off. I'm not going to reveal the second game I got off him until later in the year. But it just came in a white envelope, 2 discs. Right. And of course, when it got pushed through my door, the disc snapped in half.
Oh.
And it was wet already, and it was open. The envelope was open, and like the guy has loads of really good ratings on eBay, and I was well, I mean, you know to pack discs better than that.
Yeah.
At least put fragile on it, mate. You know. So I was so pissed off.
It's like just a standard letter envelope.
Standard letter envelope.
Not like an A4 one with the bubble wrap in it.
No padding, no bubble wrap, and an A4 paper. Nothing else.
Yeah, it was mine.
He had this little bit of cardboard between the 2 discs.
Yeah.
But it was between the 2 discs.
Oh.
So Incredible Crisis is destroyed. So he goes, oh, can you pick another one that I have? And I was like, well, you should have packed it better. But anyway, won't get into that. Usually I've got very good experiences with eBay. But then I did have a good experience because I bought an N64 on adverts.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I already have one.
Yeah, you already have one. Yeah,
but I wanted to get the expansion pack.
Right.
Because some games are not playable without it, like Majora's Mask, Donkey Kong 64. Like there's actually only a few games that need it or use it. Like there's like 20, 25 games if even. But I just wanted to have it, like, because I have Turok 2 and that can be upscaled. Right. And it looks a lot better, I have to say.
Do you have to buy a whole N64 for that?
Well, here's the thing. I paid €150 for it
for
the N64 GoldenEye. And the expansion pack and a memory card, which you seem to forget he had there. But anyway, for 150, and the expansion pack by itself on Sex is €60.
Right. Okay.
So
what games do you need a memory card for with N64? Would they not save onto the games?
Some games you do weirdly. Yeah, that's a good question. Because you need it. Yeah.
I feel like Resident Evil 2 was one of them that you needed it.
Maybe. Yeah.
How does the expansion pack work? What does
you just put it in the back of the control?
I remember that, but like, what does it do? Does it up RAM?
Oh, the expansion pack. Sorry, I thought you were talking about this memory card. The expansion pack ups the RAM.
Oh, right, is that it? That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like a slottable in, like...
Yeah, and apparently, like, Donkey Kong 64, like, it doesn't even need it for the graphical integrity. It's just that there is a game-breaking glitch
Oh, really?
To get around it, they need the expansion pack.
God.
But anyway, so I got that, and I took it out, obviously, and then I sold the N64 for basically the €150.
Okay.
So I got my expansion pack for
That's
free.
pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But,
What was like? I don't really have much of a memory of Donkey Kong 64. Like, but it feels like right before it was Donkey Kong Country, which was released on a couple of different things. Everyone fucking loved that game. It's an amazing game. And then like Diddy Kong Racing was huge, but I feel like Donkey Kong 64 didn't really do that well.
because it was a 3D game and it was pretty bad.
But like, why was it bad?
Yeah,
Like,
it was bad. He had like a banana gun and like that's where came the DK Donkey Kong.
The
rap.
greatest song in music in video game history.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you see the movie yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, you saw it, didn't you?
Saw half of it.
Half of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the kids wanted to leave.
Yeah, kids wanted.
Oh, you told me.
As soon as they eat, well, my son was very scared of it. I have to say, because there was
Breaks my
the
heart.
dry bones. Oh, it felt so bad. Like the dry bones in it, and Bowser, it was like he was basically torturing Luigi, like pulling his mustache, you know. And I looked at my
Like,
son,
what-
and he was actually shaking.
That
Like,
is so sad.
it
That's
was
really
it was
poor
her. I
kid.
felt like such a bad father. I was like, Mario, like, I mean, like, there's not going to be anything scary in this, but obviously Japanese children are less afraid of things than maybe Westerners. But, so yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to watch it all. But yeah, people have been slating it, like, you know, mostly like official, like, you know, magazine stuff. But I thought it was pretty okay, you know.
I don't like. I figure I'll see what it's like. It'll probably be all right, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've kind of really gone off a lot of places that give reviews to things because
Yeah.
I just.
There's an agenda, Yusuf. There's always an agenda.
I think there's a weird thing about access, and I think if you actually write something about a company or place that you don't like, that you think this is crap, you lose access to lots of things, and I think it happens with lots of other stuff now with like social media. Is that if Nintendo want to get something out, they can put it on their YouTube channel.
Yeah,
they can get a lot
exactly.
more people looking at it there. They don't need. So I think that's kind of part of it where places are sort of angry about different things. And actually, a bit of my news for today actually gets into it.
News.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody before I announce it.
News is always discussed very surreptitiously and quietly.
News.
News.
Don't read about it. Don't tell anyone. That's quite good, yeah.
Yeah.
Quite nice. I'm going to Japan very soon,
Oh.
so I don't know how many more episodes we'll
It's
get.
pronounced Japan.
It's actually pronounced Nippon.
Is it?
Yeah, Japan is the anglicised version of it.
Now that makes sense why that song Nippon Manju.
Yeah.
I do the whole song.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward to it, but hopefully I can look at a lot of the gaming stuff, a lot of the big gaming culture that's there.
Yeah.
There is, I don't know if you ever heard about it, the shop's called Super Potato.
No, it sounds great.
In Akihabara, and they have all the retro games. Also another one called Mandrake, where you can get like, you go in and there's just like rows and rows of Game Boys and N64s, and the controls are all
Amazing.
perfectly preserved. There's one in Tokyo, and which is Akihabara, and there's also one in Osaka. So I can have a look out for some retro games, and I won't send you one.
He's actually not joking about this. Whenever I asked used to do something for him, he's like, really? Do I have to do that? I have no space.
That's not. Sorry, I think what he's talking about is when I was moving back from London after living there for several years. Numan wanted me
That's
to bring
taking
them.
a flight and bringing stuff. It's the same thing.
Yeah, but my bags were full. I was living there for 5 years. I was bringing back. Numan goes, oh, you know the like round things you have on the top of like a stairwell when you go up the staircase. He's like, can you get me them and bring them over? I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. How many do you need?
You didn't say that, sure, that's fine.
I go, how many do you need? Right. I go 1, 2, 6.
They're only small balls.
But it's like 6 of them
Doesn't
in my
matter.
bag.
Okay, look.
Wooden balls.
I'll
like,
tell you
not
right now.
hollow, so I couldn't fill them with anything.
And I
either.
have a... Who would want to fill them?
As in it would.
What are you going to fill in
As
a
in it
ball?
would put my socks in it, so it would take up less space.
God. The way you think, Yusuf, you're clearly a robot.
No, I'm just trying to bring my shit back.
Anyway.
My bags are full.
What I do want you to do is look for Tomba for me, maybe.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, it's online for like 230, 40, 50 euros.
I will look around and see what
Yeah.
I can find from it. But from like I think the one in Tokyo has actually gotten so famous now. Anyway, it's lost a lot of its rarity
Ah, okay.
because everyone knows to go there and to buy the stuff. But I'll see. I think the Osaka one's a bit better. So
Okay.
I'll see if I can go there.
Well, you have to do a traveling Japan gaming video when you're over there and put it out on the channel.
I'll see how quickly my wife gets bored of the idea.
Well, she doesn't have to be involved. Selfie it the whole way.
That's right, because I could do that, yeah. But yeah, so hopefully I get some cool stuff, see what we can get by. I'm going to buy so
be
much
great.
shy.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
Booked in myself for the Pokemon Cafe.
What did they do there?
A giant Pikachu's the chef, and they make you all the food that looks like the Pokemon.
Oh.
Like, you know, like a pancake that looks like Pikachu, or like a drink that looks like Gengar, and it's just like, it's amazing how artistically accurate they are.
Yeah.
Like in an edible.
I'd say their attention to detail.
Yeah.
Just got the image of you know, you maybe dropping the pancake and going, "Sorry, Pikachu." Shut up.
Surly looks after Surly.
Exactly.
Alright, if you don't have much, do you want to get into some news?
Yeah, news, and then we do, I got retro rewind or whatever we were calling it, but do the news first.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, so the first thing that I was saying to you was about the way companies can do things their own way now. You know, like they don't need to have these
E3
events. E3 has been cancelled.
Yeah.
So the gaming show was set to return this year, and there's been lots of stuff coming leading up to it where different places were going, oh yeah, Nintendo will be there. Oh, actually we won't. Sony and then Microsoft, like none of them were going to be there. So it was a bit weird after COVID anyway, because sometimes they wanted to put it on, and I think America tried to reopen before lots of other places did.
Yeah.
And in particularly if you're going to be like flying Japanese studios over, which I think was closed until last year, like to outsiders till September last year.
Yeah.
So because of that, they were like, it made sense they were going, no, we're not going to be there. We're not open yet. We don't want to fly internationally and go to America and go to these big crowded events. So anyway, they are now finally been officially cancelled. And I want to know, what is your opinion on this?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was always kind of cool. You see those big E3 reveal events, and I've seen a lot of people get upset about it. But as somebody who doesn't work for one of these companies, I kind of feel like people are making a bigger deal of it because it's a huge hit to them rather than to everyday people. And like, not to have a go, like if I was a video game journalist, I'd fucking love to be there. It'd be an amazing thing to do. But it's like, it doesn't make a difference to me really if I see an event at if I see a trailer released at E3, or if I see it if Nintendo Direct do one, or a State of Play.
Same. I think most people feel that way, unless they're like, you know, YouTube influencers are trying to go over there and like, you know, report on it directly, that kind of stuff, or journalists, as you say. But yeah, I mean, the only way, I never really watched E3 videos. I mean, I just read the headlines of what they did and heard, you know, influencers talk about it, so it's no real loss to me.
No, I think for what it used to mean, the idea of being like, you know, you would see big trailers at E3 would be an exciting thing, but I think you still get that anyway, because, you know, whether it's going to be like, you know, there's like Ubisoft or Ubisoft, I don't know how you say it, they said that they were going to be there, then they went back on that. If they're going to release a trailer, I'm going to probably see about it anyway.
Yeah.
It's probably going to get... Yeah. I mean, it's like... And also, I don't think it's a bit like a news journalist thing where somebody can go, oh, we get to ask them these real questions, and, you know, they can be just too much self-managing. You don't do that at these events anyway, I don't think. So it's a bit sad that idea's gone, but I think it's also just changing maybe the way lots of video game media is going to go for the future.
Probably, yeah. It's like one of those probably legacy ways of doing things that won't be the way it is, you know, for much longer.
So the next news is very much you. Let me look at this little video.
Okay. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Very
it's
nice.
a pixel remaster of the first 6 Final Fantasy games.
Wow.
Are all coming to PlayStation with a new font.
Oh, brilliant.
I don't really care about that, but it's nice that they're gonna have access to play some of these games. Like,
yeah.
You know, probably 1 and 2 are very old school.
Yeah.
But
looks like they've introduced the fast forward button as well.
Yes, they've got some of those things, which is kind of essential in these old games, I think. But for things like Final Fantasy 5 and 6, like, they're great games.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to play 6 again.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know about the others, to be honest, but
no. I don't know how many other ones I would play for it. But yeah, I think it's quite cool. I thought you'd be a lot more excited about being able to play this.
It's not that I'm not. It's just that to be honest, my best memories of Final Fantasy are 7, 8, and that's it.
Well, the thing is, they were always polygonal.
Yeah.
So because of that, they're not going to be part of this remaster thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, they've remade 7.
That's true.
So yeah,
that's true.
So that'll be quite different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that'll be quite cool if you want to play them.
They do seem a company all over the place these days. Like every time they're like this, like, oh, now we're making lollipops or something, like, you know. It's just like, I don't see it's like they have no. you know, like there's no vision. Like they're just like throwing like resources everywhere. You know, they're like, oh, let's make a mobile game. Let's make an iPad game. Let's, you know, it's like.
I don't know. I don't think that's them saying they don't know what they're doing. I think that's them doing stuff that you have no interest in, but they make a lot of money from.
Yeah.
Like, you know, wasn't it Konami when they stopped doing the Metal Gear Solid games?
Yeah.
Because they were going
a drain on resources.
Yeah, we make more money making gacha mobile games.
Yeah.
And that is depressing as shit. But that's the truth. So, you know, it's like I think if you consider, and you know, you see sometimes places they go like, 85% of all people are gamers, and then you look into it and they count stuff like, and look, that's fair enough. If you want to play like a mobile Candy Crush game or something, that's a game. That is technically a game. That's fine. I know there's some people who refuse to play that kind of thing. That's grand, but that's not really what we mean. You know, we're not going to review that kind of a game here.
Hell no.
That's cool. You can do what you want.
You did review Genshin Impact actually. That's a mobile game, you said.
Yeah, but it's also on PlayStation, which is a mad game. It was such a mad game. It keeps going bigger and bigger. Alright, so the next news is also Final Fantasy related. So I don't know if you see this. And as we were...
This bloody 7 Seas, every time I open YouTube, this ad is on. I'm not buying your fish oil, alright?
I find it infuriating you don't have an ad blocker.
I don't even know how to get it on a browser. Can you get it on a YouTube app, bro?
Well, I don't use...
You use the app only?
No, I don't use the app.
Okay.
I don't use the app, and I also use DuckDuckGo.
Oh, yeah.
And that way you can just play it without actually going onto it.
Okay. What is this?
This is from the State of Play. We're talking about, you know, E3 stuff being gone.
Nice.
Which is new footage of Final Fantasy 16.
Oh, Yusuf, you know, I think, that, you know... Last week I sold some games to Sex, and one of them was Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
And I told myself I'm not going to buy 16.
Really?
Yeah. But, you know, so this is not helping me.
This is Ifrit.
What is this? Is this like a GF battle?
Yes.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Yes, it really looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. So, what they've done is, I believe they've kind of...
Removed.
Yes, the combat of this is kind of mixed in with the people who did Devil May Cry 5.
Oh, okay.
Or 6, whatever the latest one was. So it's very much far more action-y. It looks less like very different to a traditional RPG. And apparently the storyline in this is very heavily summon related, or GF related.
Okay.
So it has to be like different people have the summons in them and they can transform into it and they get their power from it. So yeah, there's a whole load of footage.
You have Ifrit kicking Bahamut's ass. I didn't expect to see that.
I don't think it was Bahamut.
Was?
I think it was Garuda.
Alright.
So there's Phoenix, I believe. And so this game, it looks like it'll be pretty good. And of course you also have the normal kind of combat of it. But I think, like one thing, I think 15 was a very flawed game. But one thing it did do, which was quite cool, was the scale of the summons.
Yeah.
I did really like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think 15 failed on lots of things. Yes. But it wasn't because of it was because of a whole host of reasons why it did. Like originally it was going to be on a different console, on a different engine. So when they say it was in development for that many years, it wasn't really, because they had to basically start a huge amount of it again. And then there was all the stuff they wanted to do about like a God of Death, but then marketing teams were going, China's got really strict laws on showing that kind of thing, so they had to redo it again. So that game was not what it was meant to be at all.
Yeah, it didn't have an identity, that game. It was all over the place for me. Especially that chapter 13 or something when he was going through the...
Oh, yeah.
It was unbearable.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So, I think you'd be quite interested in lots of those games. I think it'll be quite good. I think it'll be quite a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to playing them.
This is the same thing with me, Final Fantasy. I keep telling myself I'm not going to buy the next one, and then I just end up buying the next one. So, we'll see.
Oh, see, the thing is with 15, I really liked lots of
things were great about it. The camaraderie at the start. Remember when they were like on the, what you call it?
The car.
In the car, they're playing Stand By Me or something. It was a pop song. It was like, oh, this is great. And then when they're talking to each other in battle, that was great.
I mean, the thing is, I love the idea of like flying around and switching the weapons and it being really quick and going to it. But like the whole thing that like magic hit everybody all at once was completely useless. Yeah. Like there wasn't a big variety of enemies. The first area was like big and it was kind of cool, and then some of it looked beautiful, and the bit where you're in the kind of places like Venice with the little gondolas looked amazing, but then it was so small.
It was
actually, and then linear, and then you get to like the train bit, which was absolutely tiny, which was meant to be a whole other section. Yeah. And then the whole nighttime, the bit where it fast forwards into the future and it's all gone really dark, like that was meant to be its whole other section again. So it was meant to be a completely different game, much bigger game, but they rushed it. And then that's the thing, because they did free updates for like 2 years. You know, like adding on a lot of stuff.
Just make the game right. You know, just wait, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it is annoying because
fans want to wait.
Yeah, I would rather wait for that game to be finished, but they were just being pulled by different decisions.
That's what marketing. I mean. Where's the vision, Yusuf? We want to make a really good, you know, chronologically titled Final Fantasy.
Well, I think the thing is, they wanted to do that, and they started doing that, and then somebody came along and said, "That'll take too long," you know, or we need to change that now. That won't be good enough for this, or they were going, right, we need to change this because that'll make less money over there. That won't work for this reason. So it is all the stuff that we hate about creative content.
Marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That someone's going to rock up and go, actually, you need to do this because then that market won't like it. And it's like, right, well, I mean, nobody, maybe I'm sure they did, but they didn't do it in the same way with the earlier games, which is why we fucking love them in the first place. So let's just do that again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, let's not, you know, stop trying to be the smartest person in the room and work out an algorithm of how to make this work. Just do the game.
I think you'll find.
Yeah, you know. Although the difference is, I remember seeing something where they're saying game development now for like a AAA game is such a long process that if we were to start today from a completely brand new from scratch game, it would most likely be for the next generation of consoles.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You know, because you got to drop a lot of stuff. You know,
or have a lot of resources.
Yeah. But I mean, that's AAA, so you're going. They would have decent resources, but like that's if you wanted to make God of War now. You know, where like it has to be that big, has to have that combat in it. It needs to look like that, sound, audio, scripting. It needs to be a big game. Right, you want to do your retro rewind thing?
I do. You ready for this, Yusuf? All right, so here we go, Yusuf. This week's Guess the Game picture.
MDK.
Yes, MDK, Yusuf.
Very unique looking game.
A weird classic game with the triangle head guy who's not from Silent Hill, he's from MDK. So well done, you win this week's... what about this game? Do you remember this game? Looks great, isn't it?
Mammoth, Belladonna, Dr. Faustus, and Cletus.
Yep.
Is Mammoth the thing on the ground?
Yes. The kind of big monkey thing.
I do not know what this game is.
Well, the story goes that 10 people go to hell and basically they're sent to hell and then they have to get into this combat battle and whatever combat battle is. And then whoever wins gets a chance at reincarnation, apparently. This was a game that was made by a company who was then... Virgin were basically meant to publish it in North America, and then they were taken over by EA.
Right.
EA thought the game was too violent, and it was never released.
What?
But we used to own this game.
What?
Yes.
How did we get it?
Because we used to live in China, and China used to have a load of bootleg games.
Right.
This game was called Thrill Kill.
Right. I don't remember this at all.
Do you know?
No. Maybe it's for the best, because that man is hitting that woman with a cut-off leg.
With a cut-off leg, yeah. So it was apparently too violent and too weird for release. And even though other game companies came to EA and said, look, we'll buy it off you, they didn't sell it. So it was never officially released. And I understand that they used the kind of engine for like later Wu-Tang games and stuff like that.
Right,
but and apparently the guys who made the game never found out that it wasn't being released, only through media.
Oh, wow. So. God.
Yikes. But it was pretty violent. I remember playing it.
I may have said this before, but I used to know a fella who worked on game development, and he was like a 3D modeler, and he said that they'd be there and they'd be working on a game, and then somebody would just come in and go, the game's not being released now. Here's your paychecks. I don't think they do it anymore.
Yeah.
They don't. They fill out they used to fulfill their contract and go, you're done, bye. And he said what used to happen is they'd go and they'd pitch the idea of a game, and they would go, it would like run this quick and you can have this much stuff happening, and it would look like this and it would be brilliant. And they go, okay, cool. And then as they got into it, they realised that they had to limit, especially back then, the amount of characters on screen, how fast you'd be able to move, or you'd be limited in what it would look like. And then when they realised that it wasn't actually possible because they overpromised with the hardware, they said it was just cheaper than just to cut it off.
Oh God.
Yeah.
All financial decisions. But anyway. Okay. Now, Yusuf, what game is this?
He's hurt.
And this is the gift that keeps on giving. You thought the Resident Evil voice acting was bad?
You okay?
Kill me, please.
What?
Kill me, please. What's this?
Here's the gameplay, Yusuf.
Oh my god, was this done by Capcom?
No.
I mean, it's reskinned Resident Evil.
Pretty much. This is a game called Deep Fear on the Sega Saturn.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's very much like Resident Evil.
Yes, it is. Even the sound you get shot.
Exactly. Yeah. So I look forward to playing that with legit voice acting that we've seen there. So
That's fantastic. Did you buy it?
no, I haven't bought it yet.
God.
I need to buy a Sega Saturn actually. I haven't bought that
You
yet.
don't need to buy a Sega Saturn.
How else am I play it?
A ROM.
Yusuf, you know the rules about ROMs.
Anyway, all right. You want to get into the
Yeah, let's do
games?
it. You want to do it first? Or
Yeah,
like,
I'll do
yeah,
it first.
you go for it.
So, I think you know what this is. Do you?
Returnal?
This is Returnal.
Go on, yeah.
So I played this about a month or two ago,
Yeah.
and it is a bullet hell, I believe, roguelike game. So
Bullet hell.
yeah, isn't that what it's called? When
Don't
like
think
the
so.
screen is like covered
Yeah.
in like projectiles. And you
Oh,
jump
alright,
around it.
okay.
With a lot of very interesting mechanics, and the storyline's actually really, really interesting.
Okay.
They tie in the roguelike element into it very well, where you play as Celine, and Celine crash lands on a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And when she gets there, and she runs along, she doesn't know what's happening here, she dies and wakes up, and she's
Realises
crashing.
her heart will go on.
Yes, Celine, or oh god. And she will crash and do it again.
Okay.
And then as she's there, she realizes she's stuck in this kind of loop, and she doesn't know what's going on.
Okay.
And as she keeps going on, a lot of weird stuff happens. She like finds voice recording logs of herself from a lifetime that she hasn't done yet.
That's pretty cool.
Some of them where she's gone mad with the
okay.
loop of it. Some of them where she's like trying to get closer, and she just got to get off it. There are all these different creatures and all these different things you go through. And basically when you go through, like most of these games, most items and most things you get die when you die.
Yeah.
The map will change itself around, so different doors will lead to different rooms, different locations. But some things you end up keeping, and you keep getting better and better and better at it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's lots of these really cool ideas of it, where you can get these things which are called they're like parasites.
Okay.
So it might give you a bonus, but it also might give you a negative. You need to weigh up which one it is. You get these different guns which have different specials on them. And there's also like you can kind of be corrupted by these things that you pick up, which also once again you gotta trade off. Do you want, is this worth it or is it not worth it?
An interesting
Yeah.
dynamic.
And it's also this quite cool thing is that you see when I'm firing there, right, when my gun will finish, I have the option to like do a quick trigger which will really quickly reload it, which is going to be different depending on the gun, how fast I am with it. So that little the bar there, you know, I missed it there, so it went red. But if you get it, you get to quickly reload it again and you keep going. And the alt fire is different, and as you can see, it's mad. There's a lot of shit going on at the same time.
You have to keep moving.
Got to keep on moving. It's really good. It's difficult in, I think, one of the best kind is a way where you go and the first time you get into a room, you just get killed by these enemies instantly.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, you do kind of get more powerful,
Yeah.
but not in the way that you do traditionally in a game. Whereas your health just doesn't just double. You know,
Okay,
like every
okay.
time you start over, your health will be the same again.
Oh,
It'll be that
okay.
same level. You start off with the same gun again,
Yeah.
but you know how to do things better, and the more you use a gun, the more you will unlock some traits of it.
So the only things you bring with you are how better you know the game and the kind of traits that you've unlocked on specific weapons when you pick them up again?
Kind of, yeah. That's sort of
Okay.
it. You do. There's some things which you keep, which is a currency, which it means you can trade it for some items. Now,
Okay.
some items are. I guess it depends on the different ways that you want to play the game, because some are long range guns, some are like machine guns, some are more kind of like survival. It takes a long time to chip the energy away from somebody, but you got to keep avoiding them.
Yeah.
And it's all about her like investigating this planet and figuring stuff out. So you see, there's this item here, and she goes up and she'll like scan it, and she won't know what it is, and that happens with everything the first time you get it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Okay.
So that means when I use that, I also get consumable items. When I use that, it means when I heal myself. It'll heal myself for better.
Mm-hmm. And is there a linear story in it, or is there any like
There's a really heavy story on it. So this is one of the scout logs where you kind of find out what happened here. So this is where so spoilers for the game. I don't think this it's not a real world she's experiencing. This is all a metaphor for her grief.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of it has to do with this house, which is her house she grew up in.
Okay.
And when you go there, you see these different clips in it. And there's a question of like, was she ever actually an astronaut?
Okay.
Did she fail to become an astronaut? Was her mother an astronaut? Was her mother a bit abusive to her?
Okay.
It seems to be that the crash landing of the ship is when she, due to her kind of stress, crashed her car off a bridge.
Oh, okay.
And her child was in the back of the car.
Okay.
And it seems to be
oh god.
It's how she is dealing with it. Now there is no clear 100% explanation at the ending. They left it open-ended, and you can figure it out. And the thing is, she is Selene. The name of her ship is Helios. She is on the planet Atropos, which is all about Greek mythology. And when you do get into that house, you look around, and it becomes a very different first-person game, and you're investigating it, and it's full of things about space and things about Greek mythology.
Okay.
So it seems like it's her mind doing it. Now, some people think this is hell for her, and it is just. She's just reliving torment again and again. Okay. And like, but you don't notice at all at the beginning, and as you do, you just think this is a crazy alien planet. Okay. Where it seems like they have been through some sort of genocide and war, and you're trying to figure it out. So this is one level here, which is kind of a Earth and like a overgrown kind of land. See, these are like these alien spaceships. I love this. Look at this. When you shoot it, it'll collapse. Nice. Depending on what you do. It's a really beautiful game. It works really well. It's really quick as well.
And is it all like randomly generated dungeons, or?
No, so it's like it'll be randomly generated what order the things will appear in. Okay. But you will it'll be the same kind of rooms. Now, which enemies will be in them will be different, and that can massively affect it. But like, basically, there'll be like there's a room to kind of skip to the next level. Okay. So this is the first boss. His name is Freak or Frecky. Okay. And it is just some of the bosses on this are just absolutely amazing. Really? It's that feeling of just like, oh shit, I cannot do this, I'm gonna die. Like, look at the size of his health bar there. Yeah. And that's like, they've got 3 of them. 3 of those bars you need to bring down.
It reminds me of those Independence Day aliens.
Yeah, there is a lot of because it is kind of alien related, kind of Greek mythology related. So there is lots of these mad looking things, and there's just like, because you don't know what it is. I haven't shown you much more because I've only kind of kept it to the first world. Yeah. But there's this one boss you fight, and it seems to be kind of a metaphor for her dad. Oh, and it's this giant alien that's just playing the organ. Okay. And it's such a weird, surreal phase that you're in.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I to tie in like her personal history with what she's experiencing, I love that stuff.
Something about it is a bit strange. For when I played it the first time, when I completely finished it, so you can finish it and then you get like the true ending afterward, right? Which means you got to go and do some other things again. Yeah. I didn't really understand what was going on, and I was a little bit annoyed about it. And then I read up about it, and then the more I did, I was like, this is genius. Yeah. This is so clever. Nice. Which sometimes I do feel annoyed about a game, so I'm like, I shouldn't have to read about it to get it. Yeah. But honestly, the more I read about it, just the more I appreciated it. Yeah. Because I was actually thinking, that was quite clear. Yeah. I could have figured that out myself if I spent a bit more time looking at it.
Let me guess, the last boss is herself.
No.
There has to be one boss that represents herself, though.
There isn't, actually. No? As far as I'm aware, maybe there is, but that's the thing, is that it's so ambiguous. In the best kind of way. I know that people are like, I don't give a shit if it's ambiguous. That's annoying. That's really frustrating. Yeah. Let me know what's happening with it. Yeah. Also, one thing that's quite good about the roguelike is that you don't need to fight the boss every time you go through it again.
Oh, okay.
Because the bosses are actually challenging. They are really challenging.
Okay.
So when you complete one, they're called these different domes. You don't need to fight that boss again.
Okay.
You can if you want to,
Yeah.
but you don't have to.
Okay. Did you respawn there in the same location?
Yeah, because one of the items I had
Oh, okay.
was
Allowed
the
you.
astronaut figurine, which
okay.
is a really powerful item. And you can buy it from these little, like, it's kind of like tokens, I guess, coins, the currency of the game,
Yeah.
which you get from defeating enemies.
Yeah.
And also one thing about it is enemies die when they die, the stuff they release disappears really quickly.
Okay.
So you need to run around really fast to try and get it.
Right. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? Even
Yeah.
the way the bullets are moving around there.
Yeah,
Lovely.
a lot of really nice particle stuff. You can see the way they disappeared and everything was like flying away. It is a really good game. You see on my left there, that red kind of tentacle thing, that is a parasite on me, which is giving me a bit of a perk, but also taking some things away from me. Really, really good game. I recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I love archetypes when they put them in a game. You know, when like they you know, because we all as humans can relate to certain things in life.
Yeah,
You know, and it's
yeah.
like the overprotective mother, the
Yeah,
tyrannical father. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
The evil king.
Yeah.
You know, all those things that we all combine in life in
Yeah.
some capacity. So it's that looks really good.
Yeah.
The only problem is when you show me a game that I really want to play, you know, all the games that I choose now are kind of like with an idea to do them on the show. You know? So it's like I don't know when I'll find time to play that, but
yeah. Well, this is if you've got the PlayStation tier or anything above the first one, it's free.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, and I do recommend it. Yeah, it is a really good game. I think you'd enjoy it, and that's because it is so heavily tied into Greek mythology and history of it. When you research some of that stuff, when you research and see who Selene is and like who Helios is and all these things, then you're like, they really knew what they were doing when they did this.
Nice.
You know, and in the beginning you don't. And also there's this one fantastic moment in the game where you're playing it, where you're playing it and she goes into that house that you saw there, 20th century house, and she walks in and then it zooms out and it's on a screen. It's on a TV screen. You're looking at it, and then it zooms out again and it's a PlayStation 5 controller, and you are a child playing the game there, and because the PlayStation 5 is still quite new and the controller is very unique looking, it doesn't feel like I'm just playing a games console. It's like I'm holding this exact controller in that exact way.
Awesome.
So it's a very very good game.
And rating?
8.5 out of 10.
Nice.
8.5
Nice.
out of 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Recommend play.
Very nice. Very nice.
You go for yours next.
Yep. Okay, Yusuf. Do you know what this is?
I do. I played the first level of this just
Did you?
this week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's going to be major spoilers for you. I actually did try and go out of my way not to put in bits that would spoil it in case you wanted to play it.
Yeah. Well, I only played the very first level, the hostage level.
Okay, well this is Detroit Beyond Human. And listen, I'm going to say the good things about this first before I really give this game a hard time about certain things.
Okay.
Atmosphere-wise, like graphically, it was probably the most beautiful game I think I'd ever played.
Wow.
And I really mean that. Like, if you look at these locations, it's similar to what you said earlier in terms of, you know, the Venice level and Final Fantasy. They're in a very small sandbox, but everything is different and everything feels real.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to see two of the same NPC. I don't think you do ever, really.
Wow.
You know, it's very, very, very rare, unless when it's supposed to be when it is an actual android.
The reflections are absolutely gorgeous on the floor as well.
I couldn't get over how good this game looked. I really couldn't get over it. And I should say that this is free as well. On the pack. But like, look at this bar, like, you know.
All the detail.
Yeah.
It's like when you saw MGS2 for the first time.
Yeah.
Remember, they were like, the bottles are individual bottles and you can shoot them.
Exactly. So basically it follows a story of 3 androids. This guy who's called Connor, who's apparently the real face of some YouTube Twitch streamer guy. I can't remember his name, forgive me. Then you follow the story of another android called Kara, who is like a home care robot, and then another guy called Marcus, who is he also is kind of a carer robot who cares for his elderly owner. So Connor's story, he's basically an investigator, as you know, and he's investigating what they call deviants. Deviants are these androids that have started to act, in bad ways, we would say, from a human perspective, in terms of they're not following their programming, they're killing their owners, they're, running away, all this kind of stuff. So this is Kara, and basically the story is that she's trying to save this little girl from her father, who's a domestic, who is like a drunk and is on drugs.
Yeah.
And it touches a lot of elements that are relevant in terms of the human experience. Like the father is addicted to this drug called red ice, and he's kind of acting out. But so like even these locations here, like you mean it really feel like you're really there.
Ooh, I like the scratches on the door there.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, and they had full of quick time events, I should say.
Right.
Which for most, I mean, I'm not a big fan. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were too bad in this game, so you could choose quickly there. So this was Connor chasing whatever they call it, a criminal trying to escape. So you have the routes to go through, and like even when it is moving this quickly, it still looks really, really great.
Yeah.
There was lots of holes in it though.
Like plot holes?
Lots of plot holes, and lots of, like, for example, Connor, like, one of the QuickTime events that I missed out on was, it's not just a button. You have to move the pad a certain way.
Oh, right.
So, like, you have to move it right down, and I moved it down and it didn't register it, and he got hit by a car.
Right.
And then he was just downloading to another Connor, and there was no breakage.
Right.
Whereas the story is kind of like, these androids start feeling like they're sentient, they don't want to die, and all this stuff. Now, I'm going to start talking about things that I really didn't like about this game. For me, there was this theme of the dehumanization of humans and like the humanization of robots. And what do I mean by that? It's like nearly every human character you interact with is negative. Like the father's beaten, is a domestic abuser. The cop guy that you meet, I'll show you him. He's Connor's partner. Like, he's a bit he's hard to read at the start, but ultimately he's pro android. But he's just like this narky prick. This person you meet that you think will save you ends up betraying you. All this stuff. So like they really, for me, painted humans in this really bad light, and like the fact, and then what they did, which for me was unforgivable, they tied in Marcus's story with with black people in the US, during Jim Crow era, and I just thought, and then they also alluded to the Holocaust,
Right.
and I was like,
a bit cheap, a bit tactless.
It was ham-fisted. It was cartoonish. It was not relevant, okay? Because they really tried to push for this, the androids are basically humans. They're feeling, they don't want to die and all this stuff. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're ones and zeros being programmed. They're not, they're not human. And I just thought, like, to try and make those parallels, was not right. It was not the right thing to do, because it actually, in a way, it delegitimizes the human's experience of it.
Yeah, like as if the Holocaust or slavery or apartheid are equivalent to
exactly, because like I don't know, I guess it depends on your worldview, but for me, like, humans will always be infinitely more precious than anything made with chips and machines and all that stuff. So and he really tried to push Marcus. Like, at the start of it, he's forced to go to the back of the bus where the other androids are.
Oh, right.
And like, and then like he's out here and there's a preacher going, the cyborgs are gonna kill us, like, we need to kill them and all. And then at the end of it, they're being lined up and shot, and stuff like that, which was clear allusion to the Holocaust. And here he's going around, like, quote unquote, freeing the other androids, putting his hand on them like he's some kind of messianic figure.
Yeah.
And it was just cringy. It really was cringy. And it was such a shame because, like, aesthetically it's stunning. Like, every place that you go into, like, it feels like you're really in that environment. It was the closest game that I played that's not VR where I felt like I was in that place in real life.
Yeah, every place I've seen here looks so different.
Like, that's what I'm saying. What they've done is they've kind of made the levels in a small sandbox, relatively small, but the amount of detail they have in there is so high that it just feels incredible. Like, and there is walls where you go to where it won't let you cross by, won't let you go past, like like, okay, fine, but it's not really too bad. You don't the locations where you try and go ultimately are usually explorable. So here you can see them lining up and shooting the robots, the androids, and like. Yeah, for me, it really didn't sit right with me because it was like, lads, they're machines, and they really were trying to push that. And then Connor's story is, would he betray his people, quote unquote, by shooting the leader of the androids? And Marcus, you can choose whether to be a peaceful resistor or an aggressive resistor, and so Connor is like this new robot, this new android, and he sorry, I keep using robot and android and all this, and he's basically a new version. He's trying to fight between whether he should follow his orders or he start to feel empathy for these other robots. And they kept trying to sell it. They're like, you felt empathy there, Connor. It's like, no, he didn't, guys. Like, he's an android, and so he can decide then, will he kill the leader of this rebel android group or not, And like, for me, every decision I made was always pro-human. I was like, no, screw them, forget them, so yeah, I just thought it really tried to push that narrative way too much. And like, it's a shame because, as I say, it could have been one of the best games I'd ever played, to be honest.
Wow.
But that's not like gameplay wise. That's story wise, pacing, environments, all that stuff.
Just to feel the vibe of it.
Yeah,
really good,
exactly. So
I've seen like lots of different things, and this idea of like bad things do happen when humans kind of essentially sort of play God, and like my favorite film ever is Jurassic Park, and like it's a really fun blockbuster film, but like the one really kind of important thing is that, and it kind of also ties in a little bit to the Holocaust, that when you start messing around with with genomes and like the idea of like what a life is, and how to, when you start doing that kind of stuff that you don't know, that you haven't got control of, that you think you've got enough of an idea now to play around with it, but doesn't mean you should do something. And it's kind of the whole thing about what's his name, Jeff Goldblum's character is in that film is just kind of going like, there is a responsibility of this stuff, and that it means more. But like, oh, it's just a fun, it's a park ride, and there is this idea of like, we shouldn't forget that a software or an OS is a software that we have made, and that the idea that it may be able to replicate intelligence and replicate emotion does not mean that it has it.
Exactly.
And that it starts getting to dodgy things, because like, like we already are in a lot of trouble kind of globally, where we say that a company, for example, has the same rights as a human, because it diminishes the rights of humans, and it essentially it moves away from what we should be doing to look after people that we need to.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll always be pro-human, like, to the extreme.
Insane conversation that we're having.
I know.
I agree with you, though.
But this is what I mean. Like, when they're trying to push, like, people were making an illusion in the game, saying, well, when we dehumanize people in the past, it led to this and that, and it's like, well, that's exactly what your game is doing. You are trying to humanize androids and dehumanize humans. And like, yes, I went a little bit into the backstory of why people are acting the way that they are, but like, if we kind of get to that ground of where we're talking about, the emotions, the feeling of an android, and even if they can be programmed with emotion, all that stuff, like, what makes you believe that they actually want to continue to be alive? I don't know if they would, but anyway, it's a long with ChatGPT at the moment, it's kind of very relevant, but like, for me, I just think that it's a ground that you don't really want to mess with, because as is rightly pointed out, when you dehumanize humans, when you say they're different, they're not like us, humans are capable of doing terrible things, but it's not transferable to a machine. I'm sorry. But it's a shame. I would, because of that, I would give the game, for effort, I'd give it 6, but the story destroyed it.
Right. How about, like, what about the sort of broken swordy detective side of it? How was that?
It was interesting. It was enjoyable because it was a bit predictable all the time. Like, when Connor would go explore something, the perpetrator was usually in the place still. You know what I mean? It's like, this points to him still being here. It's like, it happened 2 or 3 times.
But was that fun, sort of,
It was fun. Like, Connor's story was by far the best. By far the best. And like, Kara's story was just silly, I thought, because like, anyway, I won't spoil it for you. And Marcus' story was the worst. I just couldn't, every time it was on, like, kept cycling between these 3 stories, I just wanted to get away from it.
Right,
It was like he was painted. So he works for this artist, and the artist's son basically wants his dad's money, and like the dad leaves the money to Marcus the robot or whatever. Like and it's So it was just like the evil son, the evil dad, the evil greedy man. It was just like, guys, come on, people are not all like that.
Yeah. But I mean, I just think, look, let's not get into it.
Yeah.
The concept of what a human is. But like, yeah, humans are absolutely flawed. But I just think it is you just see a future like going to a point where people do have like their little Android, like Alexa things that they talk to and stuff, and then you give it a name. And the thing is, all of those things, whether it's Siri or everything you're doing, is a program by a big company, which is taking your information to sell it, and we can act like they're people that we talk to, and then replace things, but like replace human interactions, but it isn't, and there's benefits for that. That thing can be fine, but it is dangerous to get to a point where we end up not going.
Human life is sovereign, for me, and it's like, you just want to get into that ground. And machines are ones and zeros. Now, I mean, I don't care what anyone does in their spare time. If they want to have a robot friend or a robot lover, eventually, that's fine with me. I don't care. But don't dehumanize people, as opposed to like, trying to humanize robot, to the detriment of humanized robot. But anyway, this is a long philosophical conversation which we won't get into. So thank you. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it for me.
Yeah, same. So thank you, guys. I need to get back to work.
We're just under an hour here, so you'll be fine to get back to lunch.
Great being with you all. We love you, each and every one of you, humans only, especially you, Domingo. No, Helios, actually. Yeah. So
Domingo's Spanish for Sunday.
Is it? All right. Yeah. All right. Nice. So Sunday, Helios. All right. We'll see you later, guys.
Bye.